boot campers! How are you guys doing today? Okay, I want to talk to you about company convention today. When I filmed this video, we were a couple of months away from company convention. And I can't stress enough how important it is that you at least consider going. It is a statistic that if you go to company convention, it will 10x your income. So whatever you made last year in Lavelle, I want you to go look at that, okay? Go look at that. Figure out that number and 10x it. If you made $1,000 all year, you can make $10,000 this year. If you made $10,000 last year, you can make $100,000 this year. That is the statistic. Now, that is not a guarantee. I'm not saying that if you show up at company convention, all of a sudden you're gonna 10 times your income. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, statistically speaking, that's what happens. Because something clicks in your head. Something happens. And I will tell you, that's exactly what happened to me and Ange. If you don't know my story, I'm gonna tell it to you. And I'm sure most of you have already heard it 1,000 times. But when I came into this business, I was not looking for a business. I was not looking for a side gig. I was not looking for something else to do. I had too much on my plate. I was too busy. I didn't have time. Like, I said it all. I thought it all. And it was all very real in my head. But I love the product. And how it started was I loved the product. My mentor at the time, she said, well, do you know if you have 2 friends, you can get your product for free? And I'm like, I know 2 tired, exhausted, and worn out busy mama friends that definitely need this product. So, okay, I'm going to get that. And I was entrepreneurial enough to know that if I could get the product for free, like, why wouldn't I? Like, that's ridiculous. So, okay, so I did that. And before I put those in the system, because I called her and I'm like, okay, I've got my 2 friends, they were ready to order. And she's like, okay, before you do that, you should consider hitting the promoter button. I'm like, I'm not doing this. I said to her, I'm like, I don't want to do a side job. Like, I already have too much going on. I already work too much. I never see my kids. Like, I do not have time. I don't have the mental capacity. I can't do this. I'm not on social media. I have no following. I had all the excuses you guys tell yourself. Every single last one. Okay? And then what she said to me was, well, and that's okay. But she goes, if you put these 2 customers in the system, as a customer, yes, you'll earn your products for free. But as a promoter, you'll earn your products for free and make some commission. And she goes, and even if you don't even want to cash out the commission, you can turn it to credits and get an extra box of shakes a month or something like that and just like get some free products. I'm like, okay, I can do that. I was entrepreneurial enough that I'm like, all right, I see your point. So I hit the promoter button. And before I knew it, I had hit the VIP bonus of VIP 800. And then I hit VIP 1600. And they deposited $1,000 in my checking account. And I called her and I'm like, what just happened here? Like, I don't understand. She's like, well, and she explained like the VIP bonuses and stuff like that. And I'm like, that was like the most fun I've ever had making money. And that was like the easiest $1,000 I ever made. And I'm not saying that this business is easy. I'm not saying that at all. That's just what I was thinking at the time. And she's like, well, that's kind of how it works. You know, you sell products, you make money. Like, that's how it works, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm hearing you. And then she's like, and now you can run, because at the time they had rank bonuses. She's like, you can run for a $4,000 bonus if you hit 4K. And I was like, okay. So right around the same time, I had got hit with a huge tax bill that I had an accountant made a big mistake and I owed the IRS 40 grand. And I was also really struggling to make ends meet. Like, I was making a lot of money. Like, I made really good money. I made over 6 figures doing hair, but we were way tapped out. Like, we were in a lot of debt. We, took out an 8-year mortgage, and my mortgage payment was through the roof. Like, it was just like, it was hard to make ends meet. And I thought to myself, oh, if I could just make an extra $500 a month, like, good Lord, like, that would just help my budget so much. And even if I didn't need the money that month, like, I could save for vacations with the kids, and like, I could just do, it just would like take off some of the stress, right? And then when I got this tax bill, I'm like, and my new account was like, well, we'll just set up a payment plan. No big deal. I'm like, there's no more money. Like, I don't have extra money to pay off a 40 grand debt. Like, I don't have this. So I looked at the 40K rank bonus and like, all right, I'm going for that. I'm going for that, but then I'm quitting. Because I still didn't want a job. I still didn't want another job. I still didn't have time. I still didn't have a following. I didn't want to do this. But I needed that money. So I went after it. And, I hit the 4K and I hit the 12K rank, and my mentor at the time, she's like, you should really come to Palooza. You should really go. Well, she wasn't going, but she's like, you should really go to, she was pregnant at the time. You should really go to Palooza. And I'm like, I'm not going to, no, I don't have time for this. Like, I don't have the money to go. I had every excuse in the book, every excuse you tell yourself or you're telling yourself right now. I said to myself, I don't have the money. I don't have time. No, I don't want to go. Who's going to watch my kids? Like, what is my husband going to say? Like, all the things I said to myself. And she's like, oh, you should really, just fly down for the day, like, just, you wouldn't believe how it's going to change your life, blah, blah, blah. And she just kept like dripping that stuff on me. And I'll never forget this moment. I called Ange because she and I we were running together. And I called Ange and I'm like, so-and-so said we should go, and fully expecting her to say, no, I don't want to go. Like, no. And so it was more like I called her only knowing she was going to tell me no. And she said, okay. And I was like, what? You want to do this? She's like, yeah, let's go. And I was like, it's not the answer I really thought was going to happen, but okay, let's go. And we did. We flew down for the day. Thank God we were thriving, because we flew down to convention for one day. We literally drove to Philadelphia the night before, hopped on a plane, flew to Dallas, got a cab because Uber really wasn't a thing then. Got a cab to the convention center, stayed at the convention center like 6 hours, got a cab back to the airport, flew back to Philadelphia, drove home. One day. Thank God we were thriving, right? But that one day changed everything for us. Everything. Because as seeing the company, like, you see the company, if you've never been to convention, you see the company, but you don't see the company. Like, and when you go and you walk in that room with 20,000 other Thrive promoters, and it's the music and the lights and the energy, and you can feel it in your soul, and it's the excitement, and it's like, these are my humans. Like, I still get chills every time I walk in that room. I still get chills, because it is so incredible to see that side. And I guess I really believe leading up to that, I kind of thought that this was kind of like not a real thing. But walking into that room, it all became very real. And I soaked up every single part of that. I soaked up every moment, every bit of information, and I took so many notes, and I followed all the big top leaders on Facebook, and I did all the things. And then I watched the 200Ks walk across the stage with their 200K signs. Like, there's one. We get these when we're 200K. This is not my first one. This is actually my first one. This was my first one. I saw all the 200Ks walk across that stage. And I remember Ange and I looked at each other, like, literally at the same time. Like, it was like a serendipity moment. We looked at each other and we're like, we're going to be on that stage next year. it was in that moment that we knew we were going to take this business fucking seriously. And excuse my language, but you got to know, if you know me, I have a sailor mouth. I try to curb it, but we were going to take this business serious. It was in that moment when we're like, we're going to be on that stage next year. And you know what? Damn it, we were. We were on that stage, holding up our 200K signs with all the other 200Ks. And going there put that inside of us. Going there helped me catch the bug of what this company and what this business can do for my family. So I implore you today, your task, this is your task today. One, I want you to see what your income was last year with Lavelle, even if it was $500. If you could 10x that to $5,000 this year, what would that do for your family? What would that do for your budget? What would that do for you? And I want you to sit long and hard and write down all the excuses as to why you can't go. Write them down. Because I want you to see, I want you to have a visual of what's standing in your way. Because that's all it is. There are excuses that are standing in your way. There's no reason why all of you watching this right now couldn't have one of these. The only reason you don't is because what you just wrote on that paper. That's my preach today. It took you to church. But anyway, guys, so your task today is I want you to figure out what your income would look like if you 10x it. And then what would you do with that? Like, how would that change your year? Talk to me about that. Like, I really want you to think about it and mentally tell Jennifer. And if you feel like messaging me, then message me. Like, if you feel so inspired to send me, like, Jen, this is what this would do for my family, then do it. I'm happy. I would love to hear that kind of stuff. And then don't forget, I want you to write down all the things you're telling yourself in your head. I can't afford it. Who's going to watch my kids? I don't have time. I can't take the time off of work. Get them on the paper. And then I want you to look real hard at all those excuses and know that that's what's standing in your way. It's what's standing in your way, girlfriend, guy friend, whoever's watching. All right. I love you guys. Catch you next time.